Episode 1. Napoleon has just left Spain after a short and violent campaign. The emperor managed to restore his brother Joseph to the throne of Spain, but Joseph is despised and hated by the Spaniards. The atrocities committed by the French troops have increased anti-French resentment, and the supposed ideals of the revolution brought by the French soldiers in their baggage train have completely vanished in the eyes of the vast majority of the Spanish population. The Spanish government has managed to assemble what seems to be a regular army loyal to King Ferdinand around their southern, unoccupied capital, Seville. The army is commanded by a veteran soldier, General Joaquin Blake Y. Joyce. In the east, the city of Valencia has rebelled against the occupying forces and driven out the French troops. It is an important city that provides funds to the Spanish crown. It is defended by General Manuel Freire de Andrade, who must worry about the advancing French army commanded by Marshal Marmont in the north. The Spaniards know there is no time to waste as they hope to outmaneuver the French troops spread thin to control the entire country. General Blake rushes toward the city of Granada. He leads his troops to the battlefield. He must be cautious. He lacks reserves and cannot afford too many casualties in his ranks. Positioned on a hill, his cannons support the attack of his army, which flanks the French troops' position on the other side of the city. His light skirmishers harass the inexperienced French soldiers. A cavalry charge soon breaks their right flank. A final attempt by the French cavalry to reach the Spanish cannons fails. The city is conquered. In the east, General Freire de Andrade takes cover in the forest to be able to strike any advancing French army. Another asset of the Spanish forces are the guerrilleros, rebel captains who can serve as auxiliaries and harass any French reinforcements that might try to reach central Spain from the north. But the French backstab the Spanish forces. Marshal Soult brings a small French corps to seize undefended Seville. The city must be retaken quickly if the Spanish hope to survive this early stage of the campaign. General Blake rushes back to the capital. The delayed reinforcement army is about to be caught by an early charge of the French cavalry. But the Spaniards form square rapidly and repel and destroy the enemy horsemen. That initial victory frees the army to maneuver without fear of a cavalry strike. The Spanish troops deploy behind a hill on the right flank to be protected from French cannon fire. They press the French line on this side of the battlefield. However, the French hold a strong defensive position on a hill. A small contingent of Spanish hussars makes a useful sacrifice. They charge the French battery from behind. The rest of the army quickly surrounds Marshal Soult's troops. Soult is killed in the following engagement. Seville is reconquered. This was no small victory, as the main French Southern Army was destroyed, buying time for the Spanish to consolidate. In the north, Frere de Andrade seizes the opportunity to strike the poorly defended city of Teruel. The troops of the French Empire had intended to use the city to resist the more powerful Spanish army, but the Spanish soldiers charged with bayonets. The French make a last stand in a fortified building, not solid enough to withstand the Spanish 9-pounder. They attempt a sortie, only to be met by fire from Spanish light troops. Teruel falls into Spanish hands. Scouts then report to Frere de Andrade the position of Marshal Suchet's army, which is close to the newly conquered city. He decides to sack the city as it cannot be held for long. The guerrilleros scout the northern cities of Spain. Zaragoza and all of Catalonia are poorly defended, of course. The assault on Teruel leaves the inhabitants of Valencia to their fate. Marshal Marmont soon arrives and sacks the city. In the west, the British Expeditionary Corps, ally of the Spanish and led by Arthur Wellesley, Duke of Wellington, is advancing toward the cities of Badajoz and Cáceres, both held by French troops. This makes General Blake confident enough to push his advantage toward Córdoba. He gathers a battered but still solid southern Spanish army on the main road to the city. Fearing being trapped between Marshal Suchet's advancing corps and the army that captured Valencia, Frere de Andrade marches north, abandoning the sacked town of Teruel. The guerrilleros of Captain Inigo Mendoza are ordered to scout a route to escape the French army and cross the river Ebro, either west toward Zaragoza or east toward Barcelona. The road appears clear of French troops. The port of Tarragona is identified as a potential shelter for a Spanish fleet to organize the evacuation of the Northern Army. The survival of the Northern Army is crucial to keep the French occupied. Joachim Blake's army in the south is not strong enough yet to repel a combined French assault. Will the Spanish strategy work and buy enough time for the Portuguese and the British allies to strike the French hard in the south? That will be in the next episode.